Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me at the table tonight. I know I'm coming a little bit early tonight, but I wanted to get it in early because I wanted to get outside and I got some things to do outside. So I wanted to not just pre record it because I really feel like it's better to have interaction with all of you. So I wanted to go live a little bit early. I know I didn't give you a warning. So if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, that's the reason why. But tonight I wanted to kind of continue what we talked about last week with the idea of having a relationship with God. Um, we talked a little bit about what it means to have a relationship, how to have a relationship. We talked about prayer. Tonight I really want to focus on talking about reading the Bible. Yeah, come on, Phil. The Bible is hard to understand. Sure, I get it. But if someone you really dearly love wrote you a letter, would you not read it? If someone that you really are very fond of wrote a book, would you read it? In fact, I am working on writing a book. Yeah, that's correct. I'm working on writing a book. And I hope that someday some of you will read it. But there's nothing like the Word of God. It does so much for us when we read it because it explains to us who we are. It helps us understand our position with God a lot better. I remember, oh my goodness, it was in the probably mid 90s. I did the old method where you just open up the Bible and you start reading. And I started reading something and I was like, wow, it pertains to me. And it was pretty wild because I knew that it was something that I had to change in my life. So I focused on making that change. It really spoke to me. Now, when I read that passage, I see other things in it. So the Bible itself is living and breathing. I mean, you can read it one time and you see something and you read it again and it's something different. It's amazing. I highly recommend that you take time. I don't care if you don't understand what it is. Let's just say, for example, that I grabbed a calculus book or a physics book. And let's say I just brought it to you and I said, okay, read this. And you read it and you're like, I don't understand it. Now, if I understand it, I can explain it to you. I got an example. Let me find a book here. Yeah, this one right here. If I don't knock everything over, I'm going to read this book right here. Okay? I'm just going to read something to it. Read something about it. Data that is used infrequently or not actively used may be moved to an alternate data structure or storage solution that is less costly to the organization. ETL functions can be used to transport and possibly transform the archive data to the structures in the archive environment. Use archives to store data from applications that are being retired, as well as from production operation. This is from a section of this book called Data Integration and Operability. What's data integration and interoperability? More than likely you don't know, but to me it means something. As a data management professional, that means something. There was a term in there, ETL. What's that mean? It stands for extract, transform, load. It means something to me. It means nothing to you probably unless you are that type of person, unless you're a nerd like me. But what I'm getting at is when you read the Bible and you see these laws or these commandments or these stories about these people that have done wild things, like the book of Judges, in the end of the book of Judges, there's a man who cuts this woman into pieces and sends her to parts of her body to all the other tribes. Why? Well, we won't get into that tonight, but ask God. If you read this book I just put out here and you say, Phil, what does ETL mean? I'll sit down with you. I'll explain it to you. I'll help you understand. You may not ever want to use it ever again. You may have no appreciation for it, but at least you'll know what it means. And that's going to build our relationship with one another, build our friendship. You're going to be learning from me. I'm going to be excited about teaching you. that's the way it works with God. You want to know about God, you read about God. You read about God in the Bible because he wrote this down. He had men and women, or men write this down, stories about men and women written down so that we, as men and women living in the year 2020, can understand who he is. I mean, God has been around forever, and this is our way of understanding who he is, what he's done, and what he will do. And if we don't know that, how can we have a strong relationship with him? So that's why we read the Bible. I know it's difficult. I know it's long. This book is huge. There's 554 pages, and I'm not even at the end. I'm up to page 600, and I'm at the end. So, the Bible's bigger. I understand that. But still, I read this book because I want to help myself in my job. I read the Bible because I want to help my relationship with God. And when we read, God blesses us. He changes us. The words we read, though we read them the first time, we may just be skimming across the words and we may not understand it. If we are dedicated and we want to learn from him, he will teach us. That's how I got to be where I am right now with God, by prayer, by going to God and asking him to help me understand his word and reading it, not knowing at all what I was reading, but trying hard to understand it. But there's more to it, because I know people who say, I read the Bible, I pray, I go to church. Why am I still anxious? Why am I still suffering? Why won't God heal me? Why won't God do these things? Well, I'm not God. I can't answer all those questions for you. But what I can say is, when you take a moment to just let God speak. I've been pretty busy at work. Since working from home, I've been more busy. I've gotten a lot more done. I'm not saying this just so in case my boss reads it or listens to it and lets me work from home. That's not why. It's just true. But I've also been very busy, doing different things around the house. That's why I took a 3-week break there for a little while. But it is so important that no matter how busy you get, no matter how productive you think you might be, you've got to take time to listen to God. Excuse me. You've got to take time to just let God speak. Go to God in that quiet place, whether you are just about to fall asleep at night. Excuse me, I don't know where this cough came from. What a wonderful thing to happen to you when you go live. I actually have some water here. I think I'll take a sip and then we'll move on. So, when you go to God, whether it be during the day, you don't even have to close your eyes. Whether you're driving, laying in bed about to fall asleep, I don't care what you're doing. If you just be silent and let God speak to you. Ask him to clear my mind. Wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep. Ask God to clear your mind and just lay there and listen for his voice. Maybe you'll hear it, maybe you won't. I don't know. But if you reflect and focus on him, even if you don't hear anything in your head, in that inner voice in your head, even if you don't get any gut feelings, anything like that, the fact that you're attempting or seeking God is going to be something great in your favor. God is going to bless you for that. So spend time with him. Get to know him. Let him speak. Excuse me. Seriously, I've not coughed all day, and now I sit down to do this a little bit early, and look what happens. Just my luck, right? So, as we do these things, we get to know God more. And as we get to know God more, we change as a person. We all do things that we wish we wouldn't do. Romans chapter 7. Paul goes through the entire thing. I know what's wrong. I know what's bad. But these are the very things I do. He struggled. He struggled with sin. In fact, in many Bibles, my goodness, in many Bibles, It says as a heading, struggling with sin. And he goes through this whole spiel, and it's long and it's complicated and it's hard to understand at times. And at the end, he says, "Who will save me from this body of death?" Meaning his whole body it's going to cause him death if he continues to sin. Who will save him from it? Then he says, "Praise be to God for his Son, Jesus Christ." And then he goes on to Romans chapter 8, which is one of the greatest chapters, in my opinion, in the Bible. What hope of glory, hope of overcoming, hope of future with God in Romans chapter 8. And towards the end we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. All of this after realizing that he's struggling with sin. We may struggle. We may lack in our relationship with God. But he will help us if we are dedicated to him. Now, if I really want to spend time with you, I am trying to teach you. I'm teaching you all about data management, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that to you. But if I'm trying to teach you, and you're just dozing off somewhere else, and you've said to me, "Phil, I want to set aside 15 minutes to just talk to you," and I'm like, here I am. I make myself available. Okay, and then your mind wanders, or you get your phone and you're playing Candy Crush or something like that, or finding out who just texted you. Those sort of things. You think I'm going to want to stick around? You think I'm going to want to spend that time with you, even just 5 minutes? No, I've got things I can be doing too. God's not like that. God will wait around. God's not human. He'll wait for you. He'll say, "Okay, you want 15 minutes? I'm going to give you 15 minutes." And he'll wait for you. But if you spend that entire 15 minutes doing nothing, then don't expect to get closer to God. Just don't expect it. That's not how you get closer to someone, is by saying, "I'm going to spend time with you," and then not do it. "I'm going to read about you," but not do it. We all want a closer relationship with God. We all want it. We have to do our part. It doesn't just happen as a result of what we do. Let me rephrase that. I've heard people say, "I read the Bible, I go to church, I pray, but still I don't feel it." Don't be religious. Okay? Have a relationship. Don't be religious. And by that I mean do something that others expect you to do or tell you to do. That's what religion is. Religion is you go to church, you pay your tithe, you listen to the sermon, and you hear it, but you don't listen to it. That's religion. Singing the hymns, reading the words, that's religion. What I am saying is have a relationship with God, not religion with God. Well, God said I needed to pray, so I'm going to pray. Okay, God, thank you for this day. And I'm not saying that telling you how to not pray. I'm just saying, where's your heart? Engage your heart. Do you want a relationship with God? Yes, then do it. Engage God where he is. He will engage you where you are. But don't give me the excuse that I'm just too busy. I know there's times when I get so busy that I forget to pray. I forget to talk to God. But what I try to do is all through the day, know that God is there. Seek him out in every decision I make. He saved me from many bad emails being sent. Calm me down. I think we can all relate to that one if we've ever sent an email to somebody when we were mad. But all these things come together. And over time, just like if you lift weights, if I lift weights, my arm's going to get bigger. Okay? If I eat just salads every day, my stomach's going to get smaller. Maybe that's what I need to do. Okay? When you spend time with God, even if you feel like at first you're not getting anything out of it, you will. When you read the Bible, even if you feel like you're not getting anything out of it, you will. I promise you will. Those who seek him will be found by him. He has promised it. But he's not going to force himself upon any person at all. Those who seek him will be found by him, but he will not force himself upon you. So take time to get to know him. Take time to read. Take time to sit in that quiet place with him. Take time to listen. You know, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You know why? 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth. He wants us to observe, listen, smell, twice as much as we talk. Let me tell you, when I started listening, observing, maybe not so much smelling, when I started doing everything else twice as much as I talked, I started to grow in my relationship with God. Prayer is important, but just saying a prayer and moving on can become religion. Listen, not necessarily audibly. Listen in your mind. Listen in your heart. What is he saying to you? Question him. God, did you just really say, hey, I love you? Was that your voice, God? Yes. Did I make up that yes in my mind? No. More than likely it was God. Those nudges, those gut feelings, whatever you want to call them, like I said last week, acknowledge that it's God. Listen for them. Be aware of them. Approach them. It's God. Now, I realize that, starting this at, I think, about 6:15 instead of 7 p.m., and I see that one person has stayed with me the entire time. For that one person, whomever you are, thank you for watching this entire time. I've seen many people pop on and pop off. But thank you to the one person who faithfully watched this entire broadcast. I'm going to be back next week at 7 p.m. and I'm promising you, July 8th, I will be on at 7 p.m. I'm not going to cop out early or do it early and come up with some crazy excuse. No matter what's going on, I'm on vacation next week. I'm going to be at home, but I'm going to take Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and I'm going to spend some time with you at the table, and we're going to talk again about relationships. We're going to go into a little bit deeper on building this and strengthening this relationship with God. And I'm praying, I'm telling you right now, I got nothing planned. I'm praying that God will give it to me, just as he gave this information to me this week. How did he give it to me? I listened. Instead of talking, I listened to what he was saying. What can I say to the people who want to grow in their relationship with God? God showed me. He helped me. He led me. He guided me. And he'll do the same for you. I promise you that. I want to leave you with just a quick note to say stay safe out there. This coronavirus is far from over. The pandemic is far from over. Funny story. A couple weeks ago, walking around Lowe's, Walmart, I can't remember which one it was. Very few people wearing a mask. This past weekend, I was there. Very few people without a mask. People are watching. They're seeing. The resurgence is here. So stay safe. God bless you all. I will be back next week, 7 p.m., when we meet together at the table. Good night.